Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's regularly scheduled meeting of the Freeport City Council. It's June 2nd, 2025 at 6 p.m. I will declare that there is a quorum present and call this meeting to order. At this time, I would like to ask Councilman Rosso to lead us in the pledge and the prayer.
Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for another day that we've never seen. We ask you to bless this meeting, bless all the councilmen, the mayor, city manager, everyone under the sound of my voice, Lord. We ask a blessing upon their life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, and you may be seated. As usual, we start the meeting with citizens' comments. As a reminder, we have 4 minutes, and I will have a time clock sitting up here. Let me get it ready. There it goes. The first one I have, Mr. Thomas Cool.
Hello there, how y'all doing? My name's Thomas Cool. I'm a concerned citizen. First of all, I want to give a couple officers some recognition there. The last city council meeting, I talked to Sergeant Torres. He told me he heard me. He heard me speak over here. He was at the intersection the following Monday. When I talked to him, he just got finished pulling over a vehicle. So I waited. I talked to him. And he told me I was right about what I was saying. There's a problem at that intersection. Him himself told me. He was coming down 4th Street. Officer Johnson was coming the other way. Sergeant Torres almost got hit by a vehicle at that intersection. We got a problem. I want to recognize them if they're here. Thank you for their outstanding job. I don't know if they went on and beyond their duties, or the captain of the force put pressure on them to patrol the area. But the thing is, that intersection is still a problem. Yes, it was the last day of the week for the school kids. It doesn't matter. They pass up that stop sign on weekends. Now school's out. They're still going to do it. So I hope y'all are hearing me. Please, we need to get something done about the intersection. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Wade Dillon.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Wade Dillon. I'm the Museum Director for the Freeport Historical Museum. I just want to invite each of you, as well as the Freeport community, to our shark exhibit, which opened May 24th. Opening day, we had 273 people in attendance. And every day, with the exception of the rainstorm that blew in last week, we've had 100 people in attendance, which has been fantastic to see. I also wanted to just take a moment to recognize the city staff who were involved in helping me and my staff put the shark exhibit together. That's Price and the street department, bringing the sharks over, helping us mount them. And Toby, with our Hammerhead Vision station was a huge help. So if y'all can, we are open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. It is free to the public. Come on out. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade. Next, we have Mr. Sam Reyna.
Mayor, Council, good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Sam Reyna, and I reside at 2002 North Avenue G. This package that I gave you on ordinance, city ordinances, the reason I brought this up is because last council meeting, somebody tried to adopt an ordinance. We saw it going through the proper channels, which is Charter Review Committee. To adopt a new ordinance on a home rule city like Freeport, the process typically involves identifying a need for the ordinances, drafting the proposed legislation, presenting it to the city council for review and public hearings, gaining approval from the council through a vote, and finally publishing the ordinance for official enforcement. This process will be guided by the city's home rule charter, which outlines specific procedures for everything enforcing local laws. Key steps: identify the need and gather support. Number one, identify a local issue that requires regulation through a new ordinance. Number two, gather community input and support for the proposed ordinance change. Draft the ordinance. Number one, work with the city attorney to draft the ordinance. Ensure it is legally sound and aligns with the city's home rule charter. Number two, clearly define the scope, regulations, and enforcement mechanism within the ordinance. Submit to city council. Present the drafted ordinance to the city council for review and consideration. Number two, the council may refer the ordinance to relevant committees for further analysis and public hearings. Public hearings. The city council will hold public hearings to allow residents to provide feedback on the proposed ordinance. Number two, citizens can voice their concerns, ask questions, and support or oppose the proposed ordinance. Council deliberations and vote. Number one, following public hearings, the city council will deliberate on the ordinance and make necessary amendments. Number two, the city will then begin enforcing the new regulations outlined in the ordinance. Publication and enforcement. If approved, the ordinance is officially published in a designated legal newspaper. Number two, the city will then begin enforcing the new regulations outlined in the ordinance. Important considerations. Home rule charter review. Always consult the Freeport Home Rule Charter to understand the specific procedures and requirements for adopting new ordinances. Legal compliance. Ensure the drafted ordinance adheres to state laws and does not conflict with existing ordinances. Community engagement. Actively involve residents throughout the process to build conscientious and support for the proposed ordinance. So, any ordinance that...
Mr. Rayner, your 4 minutes. You almost hit it.
I almost got it. Had to practice some more.
Next, we have Miss Melanie Oldham.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council.
Good evening.
I'm Melanie Oldham. I'm a resident of Freeport. I'm a retired healthcare professional, and I attend most City Council or EDC meetings, either online or in person. And I have continued to talk to residents and to do public information requests since the last meeting. As I mentioned at the last City Council meeting, I attended the City of Freeport /DA versus Councilman Pena trial and listened to the testimony of witnesses, Mr. David Olson, Betty Wells, Mr. Kelty, the DA's investigator, etc. After hearing that, I knew for a fact that the DA did not have a case. And so I would respectfully say again, Mr. David Olson, City Attorney, I felt like when you testified, you changed your testimony. You weren't open and honest. And actually, the defense lawyer had to show you the emails between Mr. Pena and yourself and the fact that you told him to post that second agenda. So I would suggest that you all form a citizens committee with maybe 2 public on it to start doing some serious search for another city attorney. I know it's tough, but my gosh, you know, our ordinance says that we don't have to have an attorney from in Missouri County. In fact, Mr. Olson, they're in Houston. But something to consider. Also, I'm on the Historical Main Street Board, and you may not have heard, but we have now become accredited, a lot due to Wade Dillon, who stepped down. But the problem is we have not met in 3 months, even though 4 of his board members have constantly requested it to Miss Irene Osinas and Miss Edith, who is the chair and vice chair. And because of that, who is going to do the quarterly report that is due to Main Street? This is a big concern, and when I asked Miss Irene, it comes back to, well, we have to get approval from Mr. Petty. So something needs to get done before we lose our accreditation that we have worked for a long, long time to get. Number 3, I would like to know, and a lot of people in this room, why and who decided to suspend Chief Jennifer Howell and say she needed to be investigated. Shockingly, City Council, most of you don't even know the reason why she's being investigated, let alone the public. Something is wrong there. And also, Ms. Howell was not only chief, but she was assistant city manager and over code enforcement. A very smart, important employee. So I hope that at some point you all share with us, the public, why a good lady or chief like Howell is, her name's being defamed, and all we know is she's being investigated for some reason. Finally, building inspections. I've talked to people in code, Yvette. Our code enforcement officers are leaving. There's not maybe 1 part-time person left. Why is that? Also, the city has no certified floodplain manager. That's a problem because people are wanting to come in here and build houses. Why don't we have a certified floodplain manager? Final thing is, I heard Mr. Reyna speak. We need to consider putting on the ballot that we have 2 at-large city councilmen, because it's so sad when you have certain situation where it's always a 3-2 vote, no matter what the issue is. So why not consider Mr. Reyna and his charter review to
Ms. Oldham.
And thank you for listening to me.
Next, we have Miss Pam Dancy.
Good evening, gentlemen,
Good evening.
everybody, Mayor. I too, what the citizens have been telling me is that they would, and a prime example is the first gentleman that talked, would like to see the workshop brought back on board, because when we call, or any of y'all, it needs to to where you guys are out driving around and looking at what's happening your ward and bring it to council. But if we bring it to our councilmen, then when are they supposed to talk about it? Because it's not on the agenda, okay? So we want that brought back. That way we don't have to feel like we're coming up here and it's complaining. And a lot of people have stated that they feel like y'all took it off because things were being said and the city didn't want to be embarrassed. Not my words, but what others are saying. And I kind of feel that there's some truth to that. Also, Ms. Howe, remember, each and every one of you always said what a great job she's doing. Thank you, thank you. And it's taken 2 months to do an investigation. I mean, I can see it if it's the city of Houston or somebody that's larger than us, but 2 months? And what in the heck did she even do? I don't think she did anything. I think it's a setup, to tell you the truth. And I hate to say that, but I really do feel like it's some type of a setup going on against her. And I hope that y'all can get stop being the way you are. I mean, my God, how long did it take to get rid of Garavay after he, you know, we know all the funny stuff. He did some good stuff, but I mean, she is a great woman. And I don't know what's happening here, but I don't like it, and a lot of citizens don't like it. They definitely want to have the workshop brought back up so that you guys drive around in your wards. Bring up what's happening in the wards, because this city is a mess. When I drive around, it's a mess. Now, the road construction's getting better, the certain things they're doing, but there's a mess. Downtown is a freaking mess. You know, stop fighting among each other. Principles before personalities. Principles before personalities. Let's get some stuff done here and reinstate Ms. Howe. That's all I have to say at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nancy. Next, we have Mr. Manning Rollerson.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I'm a piggyback off of Melody Odom, which is true. It is time for the nonsense to stop, even with Miss Pamela. Number one, how is it possible that this city discredited a man's name that was elected by the people of his ward to get transparency? The problem with Freeport, 57 years. Where's Freeport growed at? 57 years of taxation. Where's the return on the dollar? 57 years of this council permitting dumpings upon dumpings. 50 years of this council agreeing to tax abatements. Where is it for Freeport? Why we have a dwindling budget? Why we owe the IRS? What's going on in Freeport? I drove through every last one of y'all wards and videotaped every last one of the storm drainage. But the professionals doing a good job. But our storm drainage has been like this over 15, 20 years. You guys sat up here since 2012 and played games with the lives of every single citizen in this city. You can't get accountability for explosions in this city or dumpings. Those are the main key things that supposed to protect the citizens of this city, because you're the frontliners. And when y'all don't do anything about it, it leaves us in danger. I flew all the way across the world to find out who blowed up in this community and who's responsible. And all fingers point back at you guys, because you guys don't ask for it or force it to happen. This is directly from the Japanese government. What are y'all gonna do to protect the people of Freeport? Where's our homes that was promised with the expansion project with the port of Freeport? When are we gonna start breaking ground on that? That is important. I have Lone Star Legal Aid investigating you guys based on the water problems that we have in Freeport, which y'all should know that because the request's been asked for months now. The problem we have is a dwindling city, a deteriorating city, bad governance, and a downtown that has not grown since 1979. Freeport heyday was in the early 80s, and it started on the decline in mid-80s to the present day. Infrastructure not taken care of, dwindling infrastructure, and problems with budgeting. What does that sound like? That sounds like a broken governmental system that continuously governs this city. And it has to change. Our children should have a better future, and you guys should do better. Let's get past the nonsense that we just went through, and let's change this. Y'all are some good people, but you got to change your hearts, because it's about the children of the future, and it's not about none of our egos or our feelings, because we all have one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rollerson. I have one more up here that was somehow, I don't know if it was emailed or sent in. It was brought in by Miss Kathy Cox. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a time where I was getting multiple emails from citizens wanting me to read stuff anonymously, or hey, I'm not going to be able to be there, so will you read this for me? Okay. In my opinion, this part of the meeting is for audience participation. Okay. I appreciate Ms. Cox's concerns. Her concerns are on the splash pad. Okay, and what I have decided to do, as opposed to reading them, I will share this letter with each of the council members. That way they are aware of the concerns. And Ms. Cox, if you're listening, I will also pass this on to the city manager, so that we will look into it and get it taken care of. So I think everybody has had an opportunity to read it, except for Councilman Pena. So if you can pass that down, and when you're finished, Councilman Pena, if you don't mind. All right, we're moving on. We have agenda item number 2, which is the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have 2A, action regarding the minutes from the May 19, 2025 meeting. We have action approving the road closure for Fort Velasco Day, Saturday, June 21st. 2C, action approving resolution number 2025-2919, authorizing the application to the TX.SP2125 program. Then we have 2D, action approving resolution number 2025-2920, which is a cooperation agreement between the City of Freeport and Texas Home Collaborative, a public housing authority, the Sienna Villas Apartments. Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Councilman Rosso. Council, is there any discussion needed on these items? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Next, we have agenda item 3A, consideration and possible action by City Council approving items for surplus and authorize the sale with an online auction using public surplus. Ms. Kramer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Before you tonight, I'm presenting for your approval several items to be declared as surplus from the police department and the museum. The items are in a list in your packets, and the staff recommends approving these items as surplus.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the city to sell these items as surplus using a public auction.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Rosso. Council, any discussion, questions, comments? Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor to approve state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Ms. Kramer. Before we go 3B, I would like to make a quick announcement. Lance Petty is home sick this evening. Per doctor's orders, he should be out until Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, and I want to thank Chief Motley for sitting in this evening. Agenda item 3B, consideration and possible action approving resolutions appointing or reappointing members to various boards and commissions. Staff recommendation. Staff recommends approving of the proposed resolutions, appointments, and reappointing individuals to various boards and commissions as presented. These appointments are in accordance with established procedures and ensure continued functionality and representation on each board. Item summary. The terms have expired on each of the boards and commissions. These terms expired on May 31st, 2025. Additionally, there are several positions left vacant due to members stepping down before their term expired. At the time this memo was created, the city has received applications from individuals who are interested in serving on these boards and commissions. This agenda item involves the City Council's consideration and possible action on resolutions to appoint or reappoint individuals to several municipal boards and commissions. This process helps maintain full membership on advisory and regulatory bodies that serve an essential role in local government. All board members are appointed to fulfill 2-year terms and serve at the pleasure of the City Council. A summary list has been created of expiring terms for each board, and a list of interested applicants is attached. Council, as we are considering the members for these boards, a couple things that need to be thought of. One, of course, is the person qualified and capable of performing the duties. But two, is the person a team player? You know, because in these committees, we want everybody to work together towards a common goal. We want to make it as least disruptive as possible. All right, first one on our list is the Planning Commission. Currently, we have Mr. Ronald Bachman and Mr. James Sacamano, whose terms have expired. They have reapplied, as well as Miss Melanie Oldham. I'm sorry, Melanie.
Today, I had removed my name to be on the planning commission because they are doing a great job, the members that are there. I just applied for ease.
That makes our job easier.
I want to, can I make a motion?
Absolutely.
I want to make a motion to table this. I mean, for the reason that you said, you know, we want to look over this. We got 5 applicants today as they walked in. And, you know, I want to look over them. And so,
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
I mean, you gave a great example of what we need to be looking for and what we need to pay attention to. And I mean, we just got 4 or 5 new applicants. And it's great to see that, you know, people are coming out to want to get on these boards. And I just don't want to I want to look over them and, you know, try to make a better decision on what we want to do.
Council, we have a motion to table, and when you say table, are you talking about tabling the whole agenda item?
The whole agenda item.
We have a motion on the floor to table agenda item number 3B. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second motion to table by Councilman Davis, seconded by Councilman Pena.
I wasn't sure if since Mr. Petty had put that on the agenda, if he needed to be here as well to facilitate it, so that would be one of my concerns as well, in addition to the same-day applications.
I understand your concerns. One of my concerns with the whole situation is we have a process for doing this particular item, and that is we publicize, you know, that these appointments are coming up. We put a date in which these applications are supposed to be in. And those rules and that process is there for a reason. Okay, so, you know, my opinion is the rules are there. The time has passed, and you know the rules are there for a reason. So I am against tabling it. There's a lot of citizens that have come out tonight expecting to hear yes or no, and this will just push it off that much longer. But I'm but one vote. Council, you have any other questions or comments on this?
I have another question. Actually.
Yes, sir.
So I see that we have an application for Shonda Marshall, but then on the agenda, it says that she wasn't reapplying, but we have her application here. So how is that going to be navigated?
When was Ms. Marshall's?
She turned in her application this morning.
This morning? Okay. Ms. Marshall turned her application in this morning, and the agenda packet was put together.
It was given to me this morning.
And can you use the mic, please?
It was given to me. It was given to me this morning. Her application was.
Yeah, McGinty and Shonda's.
Did she have a hand up?
Yeah. Shonda had her hand up.
I'm aware of that, and we changed the process
It may have been questionable.
a year
She
ago.
turned it in before, this morning. So if that's a question, then
Where is the?
if she emailed it in to somebody or something, and they turned it in this morning, I don't know.
The only thing that would matter is when the city actually received it, regardless of how it made its
If
way.
you have an email.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just whenever it's received by the city secretary.
When did she turned it in this morning, Josh?
Yeah, emailed it to Mr. Johnson. I think he had gave it to Ms. Clarissa. Yes.
So that was today?
It should have been on Friday.
When was the deadline?
Yeah, when was the deadline? 23rd, I think. The 23rd. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and like legal just said, this is just my concern. You know, council is the one that decides. I am but one vote. I am but one voice.
Mayor, I'll just add that I know that we've done this with last minute, people in attendance writing it up right there and then, so, I don't know why we wouldn't try to include as many people as possible, especially when we always are trying to get people in.
Yep. Well, it's council's decision. Any other questions or comments before Mr. Matamoros?
Yes, so I see it both ways. We definitely want to have quite a few applicants, but we do need time to vet the applicants that turn in their applications. So I would like to delay it, but we have boards that will have meetings next week, and they'll be, especially economic development, they won't have a full board because 4 members are no longer on that board. Their term has expired. So if we delay it for 2 weeks, now we're going to have boards that are harmed because they can't conduct business. They don't have a quorum. And so that's where the tough decision comes in. The city did advertise this. They did put it on social media and other places. And I look at it like this. If you're applying for a job and there's a deadline and you miss that deadline, after the deadline, they don't say, oh, yep, we're going to take your application and still hire you. They say, sorry, you missed the deadline. And so we're caught in that rock and hard place of what we do. I believe there's some really good applicants that have met the deadlines. And so I would just hate to see these boards harmed because they don't have enough members to have a quorum. And city business can't be moved forward. So, yeah, those are my 2 cents.
All right. Respect that. And like I said, I see it both ways too. I see your point that you're saying. But we do have a board that's been out 2 months, and they've been calling for a meeting, and they have been hindered because they ain't getting a response from our team or our side. I mean, which board was that?
Main Street.
The Main Street, that one, I mean, that's the same thing. When we go to a job and a job puts out an application, that's a paying job. This is volunteers, and we're trying to raise up, our volunteers, and we want to find good people on the same team. Now, I don't want to hinder the board. I don't want them to stay out 2 weeks. Maybe we can have a special meeting. I mean, it was 2 days or something to just look over these, but I mean, we don't have to, like I said, I'm just one vote. But I see your point, and that is valid. I mean, we have to get to the point at some time where the deadline has to stick. I do understand that, but we also have to raise our volunteers up, and we don't want to discourage our volunteers. But at the same time, they need to understand, I can't say it again, but you need to understand we have to have deadlines. You have deadlines for a reason. I understand that. I ain't trying to make that, but I was just excited to see all of these people come out and finally want to be a part of something that we have going on. So either way it go, I'm gonna be fine with it, but hey, you ask not, you shall not receive.
Absolutely.
Mayor, I have one last comment.
Yes, sir.
No, I appreciate these concerns, but I want to make sure that I demystify or clarify any of these concerns that actually might be ill-founded, or, and by that I mean, number one, we definitely want to increase the level of participation by the public. And so we make these social media posts, and we're sharing those, and apparently it didn't get, I guess, promoted enough before the 23rd, but here in this last week, there's been a lot more chatter about the boards, and so I'm glad to see even these last-minute applications. Now, that said, the concern was expressed that, well, we don't want to hinder the rest of these boards in terms of the timetables. Well, I want to let everybody know that in 2021, and in 2022, and in 2023, the EDC board and other boards actually did not pick their new board members, and it did not mean that we didn't get to meet. I remember vividly in 2022. We didn't have new elections until July. And what happened is that the EDC just continued to operate with the same board members, all in good faith. And so nobody said, hey, you know what, I wasn't renewed yet. The ordinance says by May 31st or May 25th, whatever the date was, I'm not gonna show up. No, they all showed up. And so by the same token, here we are in 2025. We're not asking for anybody to not show up to these boards, and we have that authority. In fact, council didn't even express that authority in those years. The boards just waited for the council to bring it to the agenda. So we won't be losing out. All the boards can still be filled as they are now, and they can operate and do the business of the city as they volunteered to do so until we actually are able to consider all the other multiple participating residents. And so I think it's great we have all these applications, because in years past it's been like pulling teeth to get new folks and new ideas. So that's what I wanted to add, Mayor, and clarify that.
No, I agree that it is exciting to have the amount of applications that we have had. Councilman Rosso.
I think enough has been said.
All right, gentlemen, with that, we have a motion to table. All those in favor state aye.
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 I think you were aye. For the record, Councilman Rosso was an aye. All opposed, nay? Nay. So motion to table carries 3-2. We will put this back on the agenda in the next meeting. Agenda item number 3C, consideration and possible action on the appointment of city council liaisons for City of Freeport boards and commissions. Staff recommendations. Staff recommends the council members volunteer or formally be appointed to serve as liaisons to the city's various boards and commissions. According to Article 4, Section 2-143 of the City of Freeport Code of Ordinances, the City Council shall appoint one of its members to attend the meeting of the boards and commissions established by the city charter or the City Council, and to serve as a liaison between such boards and commissions and the City Council. The active boards include, with their liaisons, Planning and Zoning Commission is Councilman Matamoros. Economic Development is myself. Board of Adjustments is Councilman Matamoros. Historical Commission and Main Street is myself. Charter Review Commission is Councilman Davis. Senior Citizens Commission is Councilman Rosso. And the Beautification and Parks and Recreation Commission is Councilman Rosso.
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to reappoint yourself to Economic Development, myself to Planning and Zoning, myself to Board of Adjustments, Councilman Davis to Charter Review, Councilman Rosso to Senior Citizens, Councilman Rosso to Beautification, Parks and Recreation, and if, the only change is Councilman Davis, if he would take over the Historical Commission in Main Street.
I guess that makes me a lucky person that I don't have to be a part of the city's boards, per Mr. Matamoros. Thank you, George.
We have a motion on the floor to leave everything as it is, except for putting Councilman Davis on the Historical Commission in Main Street. That motion was made by Councilman Matamoros. If Councilman Davis doesn't have an objection to that, I will second it.
Yeah, I would like to go to the Main Street Board.
All right, I will second that motion. Council, is there any discussion, questions, or comments needed?
Did we get a second yet?
I'm sorry?
Did we get a formal second yet? Okay.
Hearing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1. Agenda item number 3D, consideration and possible action awarding the bids and authorizing the city manager to sign the contracts for the City Hall generator, Service Center generator, and the River Place generator. Ms. Hurst,
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
good evening.
On Friday, May 16th, the city opened bids for the 3 separate generator installation projects, and staff has reviewed the bid documents. I did attach them all in your packets. We recommend approval of the bids for the City Hall and Service Center, and then we recommend tabling River Place for now, as I'm working with TDM, Texas Division of Emergency Management, to try to get the total for our grant increased, as the bids came in higher than what our grant allows. The City Hall project was awarded to us by TDM for $425,000. The apparent low bidder for that project was McDonald Municipal, and then their proposals also within the grant project range. The Service Center project was awarded to us by TDM for $200,000. The apparent low bidder was McDonald Municipal, and their proposal is within the grant project range. And the River Place project was awarded to us by TDM for only $143,000. The apparent low bidder is McDonald Municipal, but their proposal is higher than the grant project range by $73,469. And I'm working with TDM to increase that cost, hopefully. If awarded to the apparent low bidder for City Hall and the Service Center, our portion for the local match would be $49,311.80. It actually comes in a little bit lower than when we originally accepted these grants, and that money would be funded from Fund 21 Facilities and Grounds.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to approve the grants, bids for grants for City Hall generator and Service Center generator, and to table the River Place generator bid until staff brings it back to us.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the bid for City Hall and Service Center and hold off on River Place. Council, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Davis. I don't think I verbalized it, but Councilman Matamoros was the first. Council, any questions or comments on this? Ms. Hurst, I would say I appreciate the due diligence on this. And
Tried to be pretty, I saw the agenda packet went out with like 600 pages in it, but y'all got everything.
I didn't say I appreciated that. Hopefully, since these other bids came in under, they can reallocate some of that money to the third one. So council, any other questions or comments on this? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Thank you, Ms. Hurst. We haven't seen an agenda binder this big in quite some time, so bear with me. It's going to take me a minute to get to the next item. All right, agenda item 3E, consideration and possible action awarding bid and authorizing the city manager to sign a contract for the Freeport Brownfields program. Ms. Hurst.
Also, on Friday, May 16th, we opened the bids for the Freeport Brownfields grant program. The city of Freeport was awarded a $500,000 project by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, referred to as EPA, for what they call the Brownfields program. The grant provides funding for the city of Freeport to conduct eligible assessment-related activities, and this bid is to award a qualified environmental professional to conduct the environmental site activities for the project. The awarded contractor would essentially oversee everything for us, and the bids were received. I put everything in there. I'm not even positive how to pronounce it, but Altamira maybe they just submitted a schedule of rates. Geosyntec also had just a schedule of rates, and Terracon's total bid was $452,200. And this grant is 100% reimbursable, so there's no local match on our part. We would recommend awarding the bid to Terracon.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to award the contract to Terracon as presented.
We have a motion to award it to Terracon by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Rosso. Any questions or comments, gentlemen?
Yes, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hurst, thank you for putting this package together. Quick question here on Terracon here. Have they been vetted?
Yes, sir.
So we know that they're properly insured and properly bonded for this project?
Yes, sir.
At what level of, I guess, due diligence do you guys do for the bonding and the insurance?
For the bonding, it was submitted.
Okay, but you don't call the insurance or the bonding company to verify that it's in good standing or if there's no outstanding claims against them?
No, it's just submitted with their packet.
And so if there were
It's kept
other
on
claims
file.
against them in other municipalities, would that matter to us?
I'm not sure that they would be able to tell us that. They bought, they just,
Can you
Yeah, they
speak in the
just-
mic, please?
The bonding company wouldn't be able to tell us that.
They would not.
I mean, there might be some things that are a public record, but
I'm wondering if there shouldn't be a line in our applications for these biddings that basically asks these bidders explicitly that question so that they are held liable, and we also have legal recourse going forward to have that answered question. And I wish I would have asked the same question in the previous agenda item here. But
we can
considering we've had a
certainly add
lot
it.
of issues with bonding and insurance problems, it'd be good to know that these guys are in good standing, because we know Covarrubias did not, and the due diligence on that was not performed. And so I'd like to see some additional due diligence on this one, and for that matter, even on the one from the previous agenda item on 3D. And I don't know if you can still do that between now and the time that it's kicked off, but definitely that concern, especially since we've been burned by it, and now we find ourselves in a lawsuit at the hands of Covarrubias, who received that $345,000. Let's get back on. No, I mean, that's the point. The point
Back,
is,
let's get back.
I'm explaining the precedent. I'm describing the precedent of the problem, and I want to make sure we don't repeat it. And so I want to make sure that that's expressed and that the public knows that, Mayor. We don't need another black eye like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any other questions or comments?
I'll just say I can't vote in approval for it until I'm sure that that bonding has been vetted. Thank you.
Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor, state aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. Councilman Pena being the nay. Agenda item 3F, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2025-2928, amending the City of Freeport master fee schedule for miscellaneous water-related fees. Ms. Hurst.
This item would amend the master fee schedule for the city to adjust 2 items that are already on there, and then add 3 new fees that we currently do not have on there. As of right now, we charge $25 for a return check fee and a $10 flat rate late fee. As I've worked really closely with the billing department to get accounts cleaned up, the system's working better. We're just incorporating a lot of changes in areas that we can improve on. I reached out to neighboring cities to kind of find out what they were charging. Mainly, our biggest issue is now that we have the new smart meters, when we disconnect a customer for non-payment, we can see that they're going back and flipping that meter on, and we can see that there's usage. The meters were costly for the city, so we want to have a way to protect our investment. So that's how all of this came about. That was the backstory, sorry. So the proposed changes would increase the return check fee to $30 from $25. It would change the late fee to be 10% of the balance owed, or $10, whichever is greater. Additionally, the staff would recommend the introduction of 3 new fees with regard to tampering. It would allow the city to charge the customers a nominal fee for instances such as turning their meter back on. The fee would be a flat rate of $100. Should the customer damage the meter box, the fee would be $150. And then should the customer damage the meter, the customer would be charged the full replacement cost for the meter. And I believe code enforcement was working on getting some type of legal action in regards to this as well, but that's outside of my realm. The finance department's working very hard to implement better practices, and we feel that some adjustment in the fees and additional fees would better align the city in protecting its investments and generating new revenue.
Council, I will entertain a motion.
I have a question. Jerry, Did those old meters have a way of locking? So that the customer couldn't turn them off, turn them back on after they did? And so these, I don't know, I'm asking Jerry.
The meter itself is not lockable, but the valve before the meter, if I'm not mistaken.
So the new meters that they put in, you can't lock them? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would assume the valve is still the same. I don't have that exact answer, but the valve prior to the meter is, if I'm not mistaken, is the same. It's just the meter that is different. Whenever, with the old meters, if the city turned it off and someone went back out and turned it back on, the city had no way of knowing that it was turned back on. But with the smart meters, if that happens, then the city is aware instantly that it's been turned back on.
So is there a problem with people turning them back on after they've been turned off?
Yes, sir. So in the process of cleaning things up, we found some accounts that haven't been disconnected or billed in over a year. There was, I don't know if it's a system issue. We're still working with our software to try to figure out and clean, make sure everything's on the up and up. But as of now, we're just manually reviewing every account that has a balance, and we're doing the best we can. But yes, there is an issue. There's accounts with usage, there's accounts we send out to turn off, and then the next day they have usage again, and that's how all of this kind of started bubbling up, because there's not much recourse we can do. Additionally, the end of last week, I believe on Friday actually, we ordered numbered tags for Veolia to lock the valve with, and then they can give us that number so we know if the customer tampers with it.
It seems like we created a problem of our own.
I think the problem's always been there, but we weren't able to really see how much it was costing us until now.
Yeah, I think that hit the nail on the head. You had mentioned that y'all are in the process of ironing everything out. How long do you think it'll be before you have it streamlined and everything running the way you anticipate it to?
As of this week, the girls are working on scanning all old files, so we're still just going through files. We're getting it paperless, trying to streamline everything. They now have scanners at their computers, so while customers are at the window, things are going directly into the system. So I hope very soon.
Okay. Personally, I am 100% okay with charging people for tampering or damaging the meters. The rest of the charges, I think, is probably justifiable, but I personally would like to do this once we have everything in line and running the way it's supposed to.
Sound like we've created crooks.
Well, the late fee is what really caught my eye too, because Surfside's Balance is paying a $10 late fee for the same customer that's paying $10 for $55 past due, when every city around us charges 10%. They don't charge a flat rate. So
that was good. I mean, I like what you said, tampering with it, I agree with that too. But I would like us to get our end straightened up first, because we've been having a problem with this water bill for years. My water bill stay wrong. I got to bring it up there every month and show you how this is wrong. It can't be right, So I think we need to get our end. I'm not with raising the price on the the citizens yet right now. I think we need to get our stuff fixed because a lot of people water bill been wrong. I'm sorry. I know, because mine's been wrong. I know theirs been wrong. So they've been paying you already. And we just need to get our stuff fixed right.
Well, council, I will make a motion that we table this item until we get everything running in billing the way we anticipate it to.
I'll second that. I have a couple of comments though, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hurst, quick question here, and is there anybody here from staff that knows anything about the meters, the actual workings of them?
That guy back there knows,
Who's that?
with the green shirt on.
He said from staff. I think Rudy called in sick today as well.
Oh, wow. Well, I guess the question I have is, are all the meters installed from Amoresco in the city?
I think there was like 3% left of the city, or 0.3%. I mean, they're almost all the way done.
Okay. And who's overseeing that installation on the city side?
On the city side would be Rudy and Amoresco.
Rudy and who?
Amoresco, the
Okay.
the project
So
company.
Rudy would be. And then, as it relates to the water department, I got to say, I asked last summer and again earlier this year during the whole Surfside water delinquency issue. And I asked staff, in particular Mr. Petty, are there any other outstanding bills that are greater than 30 days or 60 days? And the answer then was no. And so here I'm now hearing that, 3 or 4 months later, there's bills that have been unpaid for over a year. So it tells me that the water department, as I've been saying for the last 2 years, maybe more, is in complete disarray. And so I'm asking, who is the current director of the water department?
That would be me.
That would be you.
Yes, sir. And I don't think anyone meant to steer you wrong when we run a report and it's not pulling that account, because that account was previously checked to not be billed and not be disconnected. There's a lot of things that were put on people's accounts that I do not agree with, and as we touch an account, they are getting straightened out.
Okay. What is the current outstanding balance based on actually, the balance doesn't probably even matter because it's probably wrong. We have delinquent bills from residents that said, hey, this isn't possible. It's completely outside the range of what I normally have. So when we're saying that we have an outstanding balance, I asked that question, I wrote it down here to ask that question, but now I'm thinking about it, it's almost meaningless because it seems to be a moving target that needs to still be cleaned up. And so if we're all in agreement that it needs to be cleaned up before we actually do anything with this, my question is, how long is it gonna take to get cleaned up in your estimation?
I wouldn't have brought it before you tonight if we didn't know the problems. Then it was, we're on the second phase of getting this done. We became fully staffed again in that department 3 weeks ago, maybe. And then on top of that, with those new meters came a new billing system. Everything is really great, really detailed. There's a lot of hands on deck working on that.
And everybody understands the new software and the new training? They've all been through it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so again, the question is, how long do you think it's gonna be till you have it all under control?
I think it's all under control now. It's
It
just
is?
a matter of continuing to fix the issues that we've already found.
I guess the question I'm asking is, the next time you come to council, are you gonna be saying, well, there's still some counts that are still delinquent and we haven't decided what we're gonna do with those, and we're still trying to find out who is in fact delinquent and not? I'd just like to know that whatever billing we have outstanding for all the residents, and let's just say there's 100 out there that are having some funny billing for the first time, that those are resolved. And so that tells me, there's gonna be errors, right? And we have to have some tolerances, I get that. I'm just trying to figure out whether or not we're moving forward and saying, okay, we trust the water department that they know how the systems work and that the billing integrity is good.
I've never not trusted my employees that are in there right now.
You've never trusted them?
I've never not trusted them. Every single issue they found, we have worked together as a team since the day I came in. I am very thorough, I'm very detailed, I'm very black and white, and there's nothing that's being pushed to the side.
And when did you become the director of the water department? I'm curious.
when
When will
Ms.
you-
Ezel left.
Oh, in the vicinity, okay. Thank you. No further questions, Mayor, thank you.
And we appreciate your thoroughness.
Thank you.
All right, council, there's a motion to table.
I got a comment.
Yes, sir.
So there's been a lot of, hey, we're creating crooks. They're turning on water. And we didn't know about it. That's been happening for a while. That's the main reason why we went to these new meters, is so we can actually catch them. Because when we had our testing done of, I think it was 20% of the meters were coming back as non-reading. So people were getting water for free for years. And so that's why we went to these new meters, so we can get our place in order and charge the people the correct amount. And so I appreciate yours and your staff's hard work on getting these issues caught and rectified. I do want to see something within these fees as maybe a little bit harsher. If they are stealing water, I would like to see something harsher in there, because it's not fair to the rest of the citizens to subsidize their theft. So, but thank you again for your hard work.
Thank you.
All right, council, now we'll call the vote. Wait a minute, any more comments or questions? I think we beat it to death. All those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 3G, consideration and possible action approving resolution number 2025-2929, authorizing a revision to the City of Freeport Policy Handbook, Chapter 5, Standards of Conduct, adding Section 5.29, Academy Assistance Program for Public Safety Personnel. Ms. Fisher.
Yes, this proposed revision to the City of Freeport Policy Handbook will introduce a new section, Section 5.29, Academy Assistance Program for Public Safety Personnel. This section establishes a framework for financial support of academy expenses for eligible employees that want to attend the Police Academy or the Fire Academy. This Academy Assistance Program is structured to qualify as an educational assistance program under Section 127 of the Internal Revenue Code. Under this, up to $5,250 per calendar year of educational assistance could be provided by the city and not be charged as taxable income to the employee. This will support the professional development of current city employees that are in public safety roles such as jailers, dispatchers, EMS personnel, by offering financial assistance for their attendance at either certified police or certified fire academies. There is my brain's gone. There is a statement in the an educational expense agreement that they will work for the city for 2 years after graduation. If it's less than that, if it's up to 6 months, then the entire amount needs to be paid back. If it's between 6 months and 2 years, then it's a prorated amount. But that will give us certified public safety employees that are guaranteed to work for us for 2 years.
I think we tried a program like this in the past.
We talked about it in the past, and it never got to council.
Yeah, no, I think this is a real good program, personally. Council, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion
To approve.
to not approve.
To not approve.
That's right. Without some additional revisions. Until some additional revisions, I should say.
Councilman Pena made a motion to not approve. Is there a second?
We can discuss it. Or it can die.
Council, is there a second?
You can't discuss it. We gotta have a motion, huh?
We have to have a motion. If there's not a second, the motion will die for lack of a second, and we can see if a different motion is made. Motion fails for lack of a second. Is there a different motion, council?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman Matamoros. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilman Rosso. Okay. Now, gentlemen, we can have discussion on this.
Yeah, I think something of this, this nature came to council before. And I think the issue was the ongoing chatter that the city of Freeport seems to be some kind of breeding ground or training ground for new officers just trying to cut their teeth and then move on. And then, you know, that might have been addressed. I think the question was, hey, how are we addressing that we have a retention rate? And for that matter, having the city be reimbursed. And my concern on this is that, you know, we're talking about our residents on that water issue and putting really tough teeth on our residents. And I'm thinking, you know what? If you want to be here, we're going to help you. We're going to help develop your career. But I'd like to see some stronger teeth on the payback provision. And all I'm saying is that, you know, maybe there should just be a flat fee and no proration up until the end of the two-year term. And this way, we have folks that are committed to Freeport till that 2-year time. And so that's my concern, Mayor, is that right now I think, you know, we're talking $550, but what does that buy? You know, that certification, what does it provide? Does it provide that much more of a marketable in the job market?
Well, it allows a jailer to become a certified peace officer, to become a police officer for the
Yeah.
city of Freeport,
Yeah.
or a dispatcher, or an EMS to become a certified firefighter.
I'm all for helping everybody move up in their careers and having the city pay for it, but the city's got to make sure that we keep them and that we do everything that we can to encourage them to stay. If that means we have clawback provisions on this that are stronger, but also we have other incentives, like we give down payment assistance for their housing, a portion of the rents. Those are things that I'm open to, and those are the kinds of things that I think would encourage
Well,
all of
and
our
we
staff
do
to stay.
have a residency incentive program
Yeah.
for people that are moving to Freeport.
But I think that, yeah, and I remember when that came up, and I remember the numbers were really nominal.
They are. We had to start low because of budgetary constraints.
Well-
But at least we have the framework in place.
That's my concern. That's all I have, Mayor.
Council, any other questions or comments? Once again, I think this is a great program. Mr. Davis? Speaking to Mike, there might be other people want to hear what you have to say.
I said it was valid. That was a valid question. But I do like the program, though. But
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Council, any other questions or comments on this? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor to approve, state aye. Aye. All opposed, state
Nay.
nay. Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Pena being the nay. Next, we have agenda item 3I. Discuss and take possible action on interim.
Mayor,
What
you
happened
need
to
to-
H?
Did I skip one?
Yeah.
Hey, we're all capable of making a mistake. All right, we're gonna go back to 3H. Discuss and take possible action on agenda rules and guidelines per ordinance number 2021-2650, 2022-2657, 2022-2672, and 2023-2820. Gentlemen, I am going to make a motion that we table this, and I want you to hear me out. Not because I don't want to discuss this, not because I don't feel like we should discuss this, not because I don't feel like we need to discuss this, but the current guidelines state that we are supposed to have supporting documentation with agenda items. I'm not saying we table, you're correct, and for the same reasons. Okay, I'm not saying we table this indefinitely. I'm saying we table this until the next meeting.
All the materials were previously provided, and they belong in this, they are in the city's possession, Mayor. You know this to be true.
They are not in the packet.
Well, I don't even want to get into the packet, but, you know, these agenda rules also affected the packet. Yet here, you're the only one with a printed out packet, Mayor, and everybody else has to go off of this monitor.
My printed out packet looks exactly like the one
Yeah.
that's online.
Well, you know what happened?
Exactly like the one that's in
You know why we went to the
there.
computer one? It's because the packets were never clean, and I ended up getting all the janky ones.
Well.
And that's where the whole Betty Wells situation came about.
Okay, we're
And so
we're
then-
not talking about back
I'd
then,
like
we're
to get-
talking about today.
Well, I'm talking about this packet argument that you're making. I mean, let's clarify that too then. That needs to be addressed. I'd like to have a printed out packet as well.
So I'm making a motion to table this. Is there a second?
I'll second it. And I'll second it because where it says supporting documentation, testimony from Pena agenda trial, witness testimony by citizens who attended trial, respective ordinance and city possession on city website. I mean, number one, I don't have it. I never received it.
Okay. So we can make a comment now?
If we can get it, then hey, let's talk about it.
All right, we
Let's
got
do
a
it.
first and a second on that?
Yes, there's a first and a second on it.
So I'll have a comment on that.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I'm glad you stated that in those terms that identifying the fact that part of the information that I want to take into consideration was this whole bogus lawsuit against me over the last couple of years. And the evidence that I'm referring to is actually in that court transcript.
Okay,
So
we're
we would-
talking
hold on, I
about, we're
am.
talking about agenda,
Well-
we're not talking about your trial.
Well, I'm talking about, the trial was all about the agendas and all of these particular ordinances. And so I'm asking that if we are going to require that documentation, we have to order that transcript. The city has to order that transcript, so it won't be, I mean, I don't know how fast they turn around their open records request for the transcript for the trial, but that's exactly what we're going to need, because it has all those details.
Why does the
So that-
city have to, if this is your agenda item, you should order it and provide it to us? Why does the city?
As a
why
city
should the-
councilman?
Why should the city have to
Hold
foot that cost?
hold on, gentlemen.
For the same reason that Jerry doesn't have to pay $200 for a printed packet.
Gentlemen,
This is the city's.
I spoke with Miss Oldham today, who looked into what it would take to get a transcript.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Oldham, if you don't mind, what was the cost that you were told?
As a member of the public, $3,800 for me to get a transcript of the trial, which is, I can't pay
So $3,800 to get a transcript for those that could not hear.
We wasted a lot more on other really unnecessary items, legal fees included. So I think this would be helpful.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to table. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 3-2.
So I'll make a motion that we order that transcript so that we
Councilman,
can in fact address this agenda item. Otherwise, we can never bring this back without that information unless we just consider that agenda or these items without that transcript.
or we can change the
what I just said.
supporting documentation. But you made a motion for the city to request.
There's a lot of evidence at that trial that the city can make use of in terms of policy.
Is there a second? I'm aware it's not on the
It's germane.
agenda, however, councilman can, according to legal, can make a motion.
They can make a motion to, request that something be placed on a future agenda. So if you're essentially moving that this be coupled with, this item being placed on a future agenda with the ordering of the transcript formally as part of the supporting documents, then I don't have a problem with that.
No, I think Jerry put it right. He quoted exactly what you said before. Now you're changing it. And that's the problem that we have, which is why we're going to be talking about that in 3I.
I don't know.
We cannot be moving the goalpost. The mayor just articulated exactly what legal had said before, that I can in fact make a motion. Not that it had to be in conjunction with some other action.
All right, so there is a motion for the city to reach out and get a copy of the trial. Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. Moving to agenda item 3I. Discuss and take possible action on interim city attorney Olson and Olson. Once again, gentlemen, this is something that I feel like we should have conversation about.
That's why it's on the agenda.
I'm sorry?
That's why it was asked to be on the agenda.
However, supporting documentation is David Olson's testimony at the Pena trial and witnessed testimony by citizens who attended trial. That is not supporting documentation. So I am making a motion to table agenda item 3I to next week, if we can come up with some supporting documentation.
What's supporting the documentation to that? You want a witness?
Okay, you see all the other agenda items that
No,
we have?
I mean, what's that gonna be? What is it gonna take? What you gotta say? You want a witness?
No, I'm
Yeah.
saying
That's
there's
supporting.
supporting
That's
document.
supporting documentation, ain't it? You can bring a witness.
Supporting documentation can be a number of things. It can be a video, it can be,
A witness. A witness.
Yeah, maybe
the,
A number of
well,
things.
I'm not ruling out a witness.
Okay.
However,
Let's say it.
There are people in the audience in the city that read these agendas. Okay, they want to make educated decisions as well. Okay, if you want to say a witness is a supporting documentation, once again, nobody has the ability to study it and make a
I get you. This is the problem here. That's why the chief's standing out there on administrative leave, and nobody up here know
This
why she's standing.
Chief-
That's what we go there. That's
chief,
the same
chief
thing. That's
standing
why
out
we
there
doing
has,
this.
chief standing out there has nothing to
That's
do
what
with
we
this
do.
agenda item, gentlemen.
I know. It's an example of what's going on here. You want a documentation, transparency. The chief sitting out here on administrative leave, and we don't know nothing. But you want
Has
a documentation.
I understand what you're saying, but that has nothing to do with this agenda item.
That's why we ain't gonna never. That's why we're gonna be where we at now. I mean, this trial just exposed Freeport, and this investigation about too.
Have a motion.
Let's get to executive session.
We have a motion to table this item by myself. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis.
Let's go.
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
You know, we talk about all of those agenda items here, and we talked about all of the supporting documents. Yet, during these meetings, we never go through all of those supporting documents. And in fact, there are some of these agenda items that aren't able to have supporting documents. So we want to have a discussion, but the paper trail is already out in the public. The paper trail is in the videos of every council meeting when the items were violated, the rules were violated, the examples that would be discussed here at council are already in the public domain. So the issue of like, hey, we need to make sure we have all of these checklisted items. That was part of the problem of those agenda item rules, those Pena rules, is, hey, let's really bottle them up. Because prior to me getting on council with Mayor, and you know this, Jerry, we never had to provide any supporting documents until Ordinance 2022-2672, the Pena Rule number 3. That's the problem here, is that you're talking in circles here. We got to get this stuff on the agenda.
The reason we put this
Then we need
particular
that
item on
transcript.
here is because councilmen were putting blank agenda items with absolutely nothing other than a title.
That's not true. What was
That
happening
is true.
is the city council was fulfilling all the documents, and in fact,
It's 100% true.
I'll bring back other agendas that when we first got on council, Jerry, the first year, and you and I requested anything to be on the agenda, there was no documentation required from you and me. And so when they put in the memo, there was no supporting documents on those memos. I'll bring those as evidence as well. Is that gonna change your mind at that point? Or can I change your mind now by just looking at it online now?
I've expressed that I too want to have this conversation, but I want to do it right in the agenda. Okay? The reason for that is not only are those the rules that we're supposed to follow, but I don't want to not follow the rules today, and then in 6 months, when this happens again, it turns out, how come you accepted it on that one and not this one?
Well, I can appreciate that logic, but the problem with that logic is that you're leaning on poor ordinances, politically derived ordinances. And you're over here saying, well, I'm gonna lean on those wrong ordinances that were actually even proven to be illegal.
It's city council's job and ability to make changes to those ordinances if they are written poorly. Therefore, more of a reason to get this portion of it correct. So,
You're asking to fix this problem with the broken rules. That's the problem.
council, I'll entertain a vote. All those in favor to table agenda item number 3I,
No.
state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
No.
Motion carries 3-2.
Well, I'll make a motion that the agenda item gets placed on the next meeting, as well as the previous one.
Yeah, I anticipated tabling it to the next meeting,
So those two will be on the next
as
agenda.
long as we have the proper
The way we understood it
documentation,
at the
yes.
staff level is that tabling was for the next meeting.
All right. So the question on that, I'm gonna need the proper, what do you call it? What do you want? Because in the audience, it say, if you put in a request and something is wrong with the request, then the city manager supposed to email you back and tell you what's wrong with it and how to correct it. That's in the, I mean, you can look that up. I mean, somebody should know this.
Okay.
I'm the last one here.
This is why I'm saying, I don't disagree in the fact that we need to bring this up and talk about it. Because there's some things in there that I don't like as well.
Okay. Well, I need somebody to
But
tell me
I want it.
what I need to put in there to make it go through.
Yep.
Because that's what it's supposed to. That's what it say in the book. That you're supposed to respond and say this was wrong. Need you to add this in there. Write it like this. He's supposed to help you. Somebody's supposed to help you. Can't keep doing this. Been doing this all year.
We called the vote on that already.
Yeah, y'all did.
Agenda item 3J. Discuss and take possible action on police chief investigation status and discussion.
I'll make a motion.
I was going to ask the city attorney a question first.
Well, I thought we can't discuss it until we actually make a motion.
I'm asking for a legal question.
I thought it was all the same, but okay.
Okay, legal asked me what the motion was for.
My motion is a two-part motion. The first part of the motion is to table this agenda item, but only, and for that matter, even in executive session, but only upon receipt of the investigation report that was performed or ordered by Lance Petty, so that the council can actually review it, if it is in fact going to be provided this evening, that every councilman be given a copy of it. And secondly, well, that'll be my first motion. And the second motion, I'll make it as a second motion, but that's my first motion.
And my question for legal is, it's my understanding that any discussion about employees should be done in executive.
Well, that's correct, unless they decide to avail themselves of certain rights. But yeah, and we are planning on having a discussion tonight.
Well, let me just say on that is that we can have a discussion about this particular item without getting into the details and weeds of the legalities of HR and Texas employment laws being violated. So I'm, again, interested in making sure that we all receive a copy so that we can then review it. We can call a special meeting then to discuss this informed with the full report in all of our hands. I thought we were supposed to have it on Friday. So by using your very same argument, Mayor, the public doesn't have any of this information. Why are we talking about it? Why is it even an executive session? We should have had the report 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. And here we are, didn't even have it on Friday. So my question is, do we have it? Is it ready?
Yes,
Okay,
they
so-
finalized the report
And so we have
over
copies
the
for us
weekend.
to review tonight?
I have an electronic copy to go over, and then copies will be distributed
Tonight?
after the person, the subject matter of the complaint receives a copy.
And that is the chief, and she
The
is here.
chief.
So can we just hit send to all council and the chief right
The
now?
plan, my recommendation was to send the chief an email in the morning with the copy, and as soon as she receives it and acknowledges receipt, I was going to send it to staff and council for review.
Well, can we call her and her attorney up here now to just ask them that question now versus wasting a billable hour tomorrow and just do it now in 30
Well,
seconds?
I'm not going to be able to send that email.
Well,
I
you
need to get it on
can,
my
I
computer.
can if you send it to me.
I
You
need,
don't have it on your phone?
I'm not going to send a formal email like that from my phone.
All right. So I'm not sure how you're going to provide it to the rest of council
I just
tonight.
told you how I was going to provide it in the morning. We were going to discuss it tonight, and I was going to send y'all copies, but I need to
Yeah,
get
no.
the green light from y'all to move forward.
I'm zero interested zero interested in having a half-baked discussion about the chief, her reputation, her position, the city's reputation and image, when we don't have that information in our hands, and you're holding it hostage yet again. This is why we don't know anything, public. This is why we don't know a damn thing, because these guys are working to keep it all a damn secret.
So
It's
are you
frustrating,
sticking
so
with your
annoying.
motion to table?
Let me ask a question. So on the record, when did the city get the email of the investigation?
The final report I received, I believe, Saturday, after they had done some revisions last week.
Saturday.
Correct.
All right.
I'd like an email, open records request of when that email was received by Olson from this investigator, number one.
The emails were
And I'm just
between
curious
the
why the
lawyer.
agenda was placed in executive session if we didn't have those materials. You guys are just tripping up on yourselves, man, come on. Just tell the truth, be transparent, we can get through this. Now we're gonna wait another 2 weeks. Sorry, chief, sorry, city. No, we're gonna call a special meeting is what's gonna happen.
The motion is to table. Is there a second? That's correct. We're,
Mayor, the motion, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, it was to table this and the executive session. That's what I heard.
It was to table this and provide the report. That's my motion. That was the first part
Would
of
you
the
like to
motion.
have a discussion in executive session?
No, I want to
Okay,
have that
then
discussion now, and
table
I'd
this
like that
for
report now.
executive session too, Mayor.
I'd like to make sure that we make a decision on that report being provided tonight.
okay, so the motion is to table 5 and executive session?
Mayor, I'm so distrustful of the process that I'm worried that the report's gonna be modified tonight. That's how crazy this is. Crazier things have happened. Just go look at the transcript of the trial.
We gotta at least see it. We gotta get something.
You gotta speak in the mic about that.
Yeah, no, we gotta at least see it. We gotta get something tonight.
All right, so there is a motion to table item 3J
And,
and 4A, which is executive session.
no, I never said anything about the executive session. I said about tabling the topic here on the opens discussion in conjunction with making sure we get the report. Why are you guys holding the report hostage? This right here is so unethical, if not illegal. Good grief. You gotta be embarrassed about this.
Not at all.
No shame then. There you saw it.
All right, so the motion is to table 3J.
No. It's a two-part motion, Mayor. Why do you keep trying to paraphrase it?
Mayor, I think that the motion was to table the item and instruct staff to send the report tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
So that we can in fact discuss it in executive session. So I'd like it prior to executive session. But the truth of the matter is, it is a miscarriage of justice to talk about the chief's investigation when we haven't had a chance to review it thoroughly. Don't give me this, we're gonna read it in 5 minutes and then make a decision about her life. No, that's terrible. And for that matter, the rest of the police department, that's irresponsible.
All right, there's a motion to table 3J, and executive session is not to happen until we have possession of the report. Is that more like what you were saying?
No, I don't. No.
It's real simple, I want the report now. It's real simple, I want the report now, Mayor. If we had it on Saturday, we should have gotten it on Saturday. Why do you not want it?
I wanted to discuss it in a formal meeting.
I want to review it beforehand. Because the way the agenda item was written for executive session, what's the language on that? I mean, it was about to stamp, seal, and deliver the chief's position in one way or another, and it did not sound like it was very constructive or positive for her retaining her position the way the language on that executive session was. And so I'm thinking, why is that even on the agenda? Like, with that kind of negative complexion, when we don't even have the report to know whether or not it should be read that way or written that way. And I just want to know who requested it that way.
Bless you. All right, Councilman Pena has made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll revise my motion. I won't table it, but I want that report before we go into executive session. That's my motion.
So now we have a motion not to table 3J. Is that correct?
Correct.
Not to table 3J
But to deliver the report.
and to deliver the report.
Before it's discussed in any executive session.
We go to executive session. Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
We have a second by Councilman Davis.
I just want the report, Jerry. That's all I'm asking for.
You guys are terrible. You have a woman here that could lose her job, and y'all are just pussyfooting around like this.
Can I ask Ms. Dancy to be escorted out, please? Thank you, ma'am.
I know I said some nasty words. I apologize. But y'all have lost all transparency.
Thank you, Ms. Dancy.
All right, so there's a motion to table 3J on the floor, and a second. I'll call the vote.
That's not the motion.
You changed it.
The motion was to get the report.
What is everybody
That's what it
so
was.
afraid of?
You changed
Okay,
it
we have a motion on the floor to get the report
before we go to executive
before
session.
we go to executive.
Any executive session.
Wait, no. I mean, well, when we go, what we was gonna go into executive sessions, you was gonna get to it.
I have a copy of it on my tablet. Y'all can hand it around. You can read it.
Is that tablet able to forward emails?
Yes.
Well then, let's do it that way. Well, we have an IT guru over here and another IT guru. I'm sure between the two of them, they can figure it out. Mr. Cohen?
All right, we're going to call the vote.
Well, he's getting it ready so that we can actually make an informed vote.
That's fine. We're going to call the vote. We have a motion to get the,
But if he can get it, it might change your vote.
I'm okay with that. We were going to discuss it and do this in executive.
Yeah, so that means we can go to executive sessions, but we'll get it before we leave today.
Well, the chief needs to get it first.
All right.
But I'll make sure she does.
So forward that to, okay, so you're gonna forward it to her first?
Saturday.
No, we're gonna print it out. We can print it here.
Print it
Yeah,
out?
she need to
Wonderful. So we're gonna get some printouts.
All right, we're going to call the vote.
Which he's about to actually get it printed out by the city secretary. I need you to speak on the mic.
Yeah, no, you know, he doesn't trust what we,
I know, that's fine. I think the intention was to give y'all copies for purposes of having time to, look at it. And we were
Right.
gonna recommend maybe calling a special meeting about it. That was a goal at least.
Yeah, but I'd like that report tonight before we have any,
That's fine. We're seeing what we can do.
thank you. They're forwarding it over. That's a good sign.
all right, so we have a motion on the floor and a second. I'm going to call the vote. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Mayor,
We're going to get the report.
I'm going to make a motion to
Yes,
go
sir.
to executive session with the intent of coming back out of executive session and discussing item 3J.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to go into executive session with the intent of coming out and discussing item 3J. Is there a second? Yeah, I'll second. A second by Councilman Rosso. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I want to be abundantly clear on this. The message that we are sending here, not only to the public, but to our police officers who are risking their lives daily. I mean, this is just the same way when you have just scuttled and scrambled and untrustworthy leadership at the council level, providing no clarification and allowing ambiguity and confusion and suspicions to fester for 2 months, that is not very reassuring as a police officer putting their lives on the line for us. I want to make sure that everybody knows that all I'm asking for is that everybody gets treated fairly, that there's a due process, and that everything's transparent for every employee, the chief included, and the janitor, down to the janitor. Because otherwise, you're going to have another mass exodus because of how this is being mishandled. And that's going to be on you, Mayor, and George.
All right, we have a
Anybody
motion
else?
and a second. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 3-2. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to executive session. We'll probably take a small recess before we do. I tore my paper up. It is now 7:52, going into executive session regarding A, consultation with attorney pursuant to section 551.071B, personnel matters, pursuant to section 551.074, to deliberate the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of the police chief.